All right, so this is the last meal before my prep starts. I got my keto fathead pizza. Rigel's eating here with us. Crystal's eating the pizza as well. This is the last meal before it gets real tomorrow morning at the start of the prep. Everything will be Tupperware, measured out, and ready to go. This is kind of like the last little hoorah. I'm gonna have these keto refeed pizzas in the prep, but it won't be until several months in. So this is kind of like the last little taste of it all for several months to come. So just enjoying every bite. What is going on, y'all? It is the very beginning of my 2023 competition prep. It is time to get down to business, y'all. So I did a prep in 2020. Little backstory here. So I did the prep in 2017. That was my first ketogenic prep. That's when I earned my pro card status, following a ketogenic protocol, and I've obviously been keto since then. And I did a prep in 2020 with the intention of competing in 2020. And as we all know, the pandemic kind of dismantled everything, and it literally got canceled 1 week before I was supposed to step on stage. So I haven't competed since 2017. So I am doing a competition prep this year in 2023. I started my prep on April 3rd, and I'm going to be showing and illustrating every single thing that I'm doing throughout the prep with my macros, my training. Everything is going to be there for y'all to see firsthand. The goal with this prep is to be the leanest man alive. I've got a couple different competitions on the calendar. One for sure in mid-October in Washington, and if I earn my pro card status there, I'll compete at Worlds, which is pretty much the Super Bowl of natural bodybuilding within the WNBF Federation, which is the strictest federation in natural bodybuilding. So I'm very excited about that. Got some lofty goals within the competitive side, but honestly, the leanest man alive is the title that I want to hold throughout this competition prep. And I'm excited to do it all with a strict ketogenic diet. So I've been strict keto since 2015 now. Have not deviated, have no reason to deviate, and I have found that with every competitive prep that I do, I get better and better and better, and it's more sustainable for me with a ketogenic approach as opposed to traditional bro dieting, or if it fits your macros protocols that I've followed in the past. I'm excited to just illustrate what is possible with a strict ketogenic diet and take y'all along for the ride. So, with this being the very beginning of my prep, I'm building all of this out, and I'm being very transparent with y'all. I'm following my exact prep protocol, which I developed during my 2017 prep and mastered in 2020, and I'm now going to help y'all master as well going forward. So I've got a 7-phase prep protocol. The first phase is all about establishing the baseline. This is what I wrote about in my book, ketogenicbodybuilding.com. It is what I'm currently building a course out for that I'll make available to y'all very soon. So the prep is 7 phases, basically. The first phase is establishing your baseline. So this involves getting your initial stats, your blood work done, your body fat done, measurements, figuring out and determining what your initial macros are, what your BMR, what your maintenance calories are, and figuring out what your initial starting macros for the prep are. So with this video, I want to kind of just break that down for y'all and show you exactly what my starting stats are with the prep. And it should be noted that I'm going to be filming these vlogs of the prep every single week throughout the entirety of the prep. I am filming these the Monday following the week it entails. So my prep started on April 3rd. I am filming this for y'all right now on April 10th. It will go live this Friday. So that's kind of how things are going to be because I've got to have time to edit. Everything's got to be laid out that way. So what you're seeing now is the first week of the prep. So the B-roll footage, the footage is from the first week, but me talking is the Monday after that first week. So that's kind of how that's broken down from a timing standpoint. But let's roll up our sleeves and talk about the initial stats. So I'm starting this prep at 181 pounds. I weighed myself a few different days throughout the first week. I was 183, I was 182, I was 181. So we're just calling it 181 as the starting weight. I got 3 different forms of body fat tested. I got the Inbody. I've got an at-home Inbody scan with the foot electrodes and the hand electrodes, and that Inbody scan had me at, let's see here, 15.5% body fat, so 15.5 on the Inbody. I got a caliper test done as well. I tested that on the 1st and the 5th of April. I was 10.12% the first time and 9.04 the second time. So a little bit of variation there. And then I also got a DEXA scan done this past Friday. This is the same DEXA scan place that I get every single time, so that's very important. You don't want to go to different DEXAs because it's going to have a skewed in the results. But via this DEXA scan, which I got measured on Friday, I am 14.3% body fat with a total lean mass of 67,960 grams. 67,960 grams is 149.8 pounds of lean tissue. Now, that lean tissue is going to drop throughout the course of the prep because lean tissue is not simply skeletal muscle tissue, but it is everything that is not body fat. So hair, bones, fluid, water, all that stuff. All that is counted towards lean tissue. So I will be getting DEXA scans throughout this. I'll be getting Inbody scans throughout this. I'll be doing caliper tests throughout this and showing what all that information is. I also got measurements done, and I had Crystal do a circumference measurement, and I'll go ahead and share those. My neck was 15 inches, chest was 43, shoulders 48.5, bicep unflexed was 15, flexed was 16.5, belly button measurement was 34, hips 38.75, thigh was 25 inches, and calves were 16 inches. That's on the right side of the body. And I'll be getting those every 2 weeks or so throughout the prep and updating y'all there as well. So when it comes to how I establish my macronutrients throughout phase 1 of the prep, I'm pretty much starting at maintenance. So I started kind of a few months before the prep started, titrating my calories down from the aggressive surplus I was at of about 3,500 calories down to more of a maintenance intake for me, which is around 3,100 calories. And I'm starting my prep pretty much at maintenance or just shy of it. So 2,900, 3,000 calories. And I've got my macros broken down, so we'll dive into that right now. So I'm using my macros plus as my macro tracker. And I have, this is the desktop version. I use it on my phone when I'm tracking the macros, but here's on the desktop. So I've got my morning drink, which consists of 2 teas. I gave up coffee, and I've been using tea for the past few months. So I have 1 tablespoon of MCT oil there with 6 tablespoons of heavy cream, and that is normally broken down into 2 different cups of tea. I have no caffeine apart from that tea, so very minimal caffeine intake right now. My first meal is smoked mackerel, 6 ounces of organic grass-fed beef, 1 tablespoon of butter to cook that beef, and then a half of a Keto Brick. I've been doing chocolate peanut butter cup for this first week of prep. So the macro, or for the nutritional totals for that meal 1 is about 1,400 calories, 122 grams of fat, and 4.5 grams of carbs, 71 grams of protein. Meal 2 is 2 eggs, 6 ounces of organic grass-fed beef, 1 tablespoon of butter, and the remaining half of that Keto Brick. So the totals there are about 1,078 calories, 90 grams of fat, 4.5 carbs, and 61.5 grams of protein. I'm not sure why this is duplicated here, but that should not be the case. So the total for the day on these calories winds up being 2,947 calories with a goal of 2,965 total calories, so pretty close to hitting that goal caloric intake. Total fat for the day is 263 grams. The goal was 265. And total carbs for the day was 12, whereas the goal was 15. And the protein was 133 grams, whereas the goal was 130. So for both myself and my clients, when I'm telling them what their macros should be and kind of hitting those macros, as long as you are within 5 grams of the target macros consistently, like without fail, I consider that a win. So I am well within the 5-gram window on all my foods here for the macro goals for the day. That's kind of what I'm shooting for there. When you break that down, actually, I've got this on a spreadsheet too. So if you look here, I've got a spreadsheet. And this is the spreadsheet that I use for my clients. This is the spreadsheet I use for myself. And I'll be tracking my weight every single day throughout the prep over here. It's got a weight goal and difference here. And then it has my macros. So it's got my goal macros of 265 grams of fat, 130 grams protein. And this says 20, but I've been doing 15 grams total carbs as the goal there. That winds up being a 79.9% fat ratio, so pretty much 80%. 80% of my total caloric intake is coming from dietary fat. So this is kind of how I recommend starting my phase 1 of the prep protocol. You basically have that high fat ratio to start with to force your body to become even more efficient at metabolizing fat at the onset of the prep, so that as you get deeper into the prep, your body is pretty much a well-oiled machine when it comes to metabolizing fat. And by having that higher fat ratio at the onset, you're able to do that. A lot of people are of the opinion that, hey, if you have fat to lose, just simply strip away your dietary fat and don't consume it. I don't subscribe to that mentality. I found much more benefit by having a relatively high fat ratio at the onset. And then, as I'll talk about in the future, I'll be going through this and trying to determine my protein threshold. So over the next several weeks, I'll be dropping my dietary fat gradually while simultaneously increasing my protein, but I am starting off with the high fat ratio. So that's kind of how I start my prep here. And I'll probably wind up making this spreadsheet available to everybody that wants to view it, so you can see exactly what my macros are, what my weight is doing, what all of that is looking like throughout the competition prep. So more news on that with the next video probably. That's pretty much what I'm using to track all of this. I also got some preliminary blood work done. I got some blood glucose done, some blood ketones. I don't remember off the top of my head what they were, but they were all within the range. I think it was 0.9 on the ketones, and then like low 70s, high 60s on the glucose. So all within the range of what I'm looking for there. I also got some preliminary blood work done to test for total testosterone, free testosterone, a complete lipid panel, thyroid panel, all of that. I don't have those results back yet, but I will share those in likely the next prep vlog video. So stay tuned for that for sure. Now I kind of want to round this first vlog out with some posing footage. So here is some footage of my very beginning of the prep, and I want to kind of show you exactly what this looks like now from a conditioning standpoint at, according to the DEXA, 14.3% body fat. So you can see exactly where I'm at now at that body fat and 181 pounds. And I'll be taking pictures and probably doing video footage of this every 2 weeks or so. So we'll be able to see how my body's changing compositionally every single week with every single thing illustrated in clear detail for y'all. So you can see exactly what manipulations I'm making and how it's impacting my body. So here is the posing footage. Let's just dive into it. This is 181 pounds. Like I said, this is the very beginning. These are my symmetry rounds to start with, so I'm going to kind of go through that. And I'm going to try and keep this lighting the same throughout the entire prep so that doesn't affect anything. And we can just see how my body changes as we go. So these are the symmetry rounds, the front, the side, the rear, the other side, back to the front. Now we're going into the mandatory muscular rounds. So we have, again, the front relax there, front lat spread here. Compared to where I started with the last competition prep, I can tell that I've built more size to my legs, particularly my hamstrings and my chest. And you can kind of see that in this pose. So more hamstring sweep on the side chest and more density with the chest. So that's my two lagging body parts. It's pretty much the hamstrings and the chest. So I wanted to bring that up. My back has always been my strong suit as it pertains to being a bodybuilder, but I wanted to keep building that up, obviously. So I've got my back double bicep pose here. I've got good thickness in the lumbars throughout the back, so I feel good about that. And then opening up to the lat spread here, I feel good about the width there. I do feel like my rear delts have been brought up some since last posing, or since last competition prep, which I feel good about. I've never loved my left side chest and side tricep poses, so I got to kind of get that dialed in. Here we are with the hands overhead, abdominal thigh. Still feeling pretty good about my level of conditioning and body fat. This, again, is coming right out of the off season, so I'm able to maintain this conditioning pretty much effortlessly throughout the off season, which I feel good about. Certainly not dialed in, but not a bad conditioning for an off season. And that is the poses, ladies and gents. So all that to say, that's pretty much where we're starting. This is what we're looking like as the prep is underway here. This is week 1. I'm super excited about it. I'm very excited to share all this with y'all. I'm incredibly excited about the competition prep course that I'm going to be launching to hopefully help y'all implement these practices and protocol into your own cutting endeavors. And I'm honestly just excited to get back on stage again, y'all. It's been far too long since I've competed. I've had several podcast conversations with the people that I've competed against. I'm trying to get them back up on stage with the promoter of the show, Aaron. He's an amazing guy. I'm excited to step back on his stage, and I'm just excited to roll up my sleeves and get to work, y'all. So Project Leanest Man Alive is underway. Right now, I don't really know how you would judge the leanest man alive. If you Google it or YouTube it, right now, the reigning leanest man alive, or the one that gets the most clicks for that title, is a guy by the name of Helmet. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but he is Austrian, I believe, and I think he's like 47 years old when these pictures were taken, but that was a few years ago, I believe, and he had a body fat, according to an interview, of 4% body fat. I've never gotten to 4% body fat via DEXA. I've been down to 3% body fat via Inbody and calipers, but again, I don't think those are the most accurate measurement. So from a practicality standpoint, I would say that if I get down to 4% body fat via DEXA, I would hold the title of leanest man alive. So that is certainly the goal with this prep, ladies and gents. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate y'all following along. I'm excited to just share everything with y'all with as much detail as possible. If you have any questions, by all means, let me know in the comment section what you want to see more of. Let me know what y'all want to have me entail throughout this prep. But thank y'all for all the support. Talk to you next time.